So here we have a sample question, number 11, that has to do with adding and subtracting for polynomials. Now there's going to be 2 questions on the test that have to deal with 5.5 adding and subtracting polynomials. Some of you are going to be lucky enough to get an easy problem like this, because remember, if you haven't figured it out by now, when you take a test or a quiz on ALEKS, it just randomly gives you a problem. Some of them are easy problems. So when I clicked, I got a lot of easy problems like this. So let's show you how to do this one. So how do I simplify this? Well, I see that I have a set of parentheses. Even though these have the same variable parts, I need to get rid of the parentheses first. How do I get rid of parentheses? Remember, to remove parentheses, distribute the outside coefficient and its sign. These are not power rules. I can't emphasize that enough, because how many terms are in this set of parentheses? 2. It's a binomial. Once you see a binomial, trinomial, or 4 terms or more, you can't say power rule. You have to distribute coefficients, not exponents. So notice you don't see a number in front. If you don't see a number in front, there's always an understood 1. If you get a problem that had like a 2 here, then you distribute the 2 and its sign. So we're going to distribute -1 to each of these guys in the parentheses. So this is outside the parentheses, so you can bring it down. -1 times negative. If you see a variable that does not have a coefficient, if you want, we told you coefficients. If you don't see one, there's an understood 1. And the negative is still there. So -1 times -1, hey, negative times negative is positive. 1 times 1 is 1. Bring down the x squared. And then -1 times, remember, the number and its sign. So -1 times -17 is going to be positive 17. Now that we got rid of the parentheses, we told you the second step is see if you have any like terms. Remember, have to have the same variable and exponent. So variable, exponent, no variable. So you can clearly see x squared, they match. So we can circle them. Now this guy and this guy can be combined by doing tug of war. We're going to keep the same variable part. X squared stays x squared. But the tug of war to combine the coefficients. This is a positive, this is a positive, so 2 positives we add. Notice there's no other plain constants, so we write it at the end. We don't write it at the beginning. So this simplifies to be this. Okay? Now, this problem did give me a mixture of problems when I asked for random problems. So this one, I would say the majority will get the easy problem, but there's some of you who are going to get the complicated problem. Again, I can't control ALEKS when it does random. So you could have this. Remember, a trinomial with a trinomial that has different letters. Not just all x's, but maybe 2 different letters, like s's and t's. But it's the same steps. Okay? So the first thing that you're going to do is notice that you have parentheses. This is a trinomial, and this is a trinomial. So we have to get rid of the parentheses by distributing the coefficient. We're not doing the power rule. There's no outside exponents. So let's slip in the understood 1 here, and slip in the understood 1 here. So when I distribute, this is the way I get rid of parentheses. Luckily, because you're multiplying by a positive 1, nothing really changed. 1 times 5s squared, 5s squared. 1 times -6st, -6st. 1 times negative 3t squared, negative 3t squared. This times this, negative 2s squared. Notice when I distribute with a negative 1, all the signs change. Was positive, now becomes negative. Was positive, now becomes negative. When I distribute this out, notice positive, it becomes negative. So when you distribute out a positive 1, nothing changes. But when you distribute out a negative 1, the numbers stay the same, but your signs change. So just be careful. Just realize when you're distributing by a negative that the signs will change. Once you get here, then collect any like terms. Remember, like terms means you have to have the same variable and exponent. So s squared goes with s squared, and then st with st, and then this with this. So when you do that, notice this and this, different signs, 1 positive, 1 negative, subtract 3s squared. This and this, 2 negatives, you're going to add. So we get a negative 7st. Remember who wins the tug of war? 6 players versus 1. That's the reason why it's negative. And this, 2 negatives, again add, and you get negative 4t squared. So some of you are going to get the easy problems, some of you are going to get this more complicated. The principle is still the same. Slip in the understood ones, distribute, you'll have no parentheses, look for like terms, same variable, same exponent, has to match exactly. So even though this and this both have s's, this has an s squared, this has a t. S squared can only go with other s squares, st's can only go with other st's. Then once you get your answer, just make sure it's in descending order. Start with your alphabet, s goes first. Then make sure this goes in descending order. 2 to the first, no more s's, then you start with the t's, highest exponent, and work your way.